Welcome to River West Radio. This is AbilityMKE Now, and my name is Sue Roskopf. We are excited to have some very special guests with us this evening. So AbilityMKE Now, we are a show all about integration. We are bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together and enjoying life here in the Pewaukee area. We all have different abilities. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities, and we showcase and share a variety of aspects of ability-related topics. So the concept of a disability hits a pretty wide range of possibilities. Could be talking about a physical or a mental disability, deaf or hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, a mental health diagnosis, goal of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. There are so many different things that this could touch and can be a reality in all of our lives. We all, whether we personally have a disability or not, or to acknowledge a disability, I also often think of, even if we don't currently have one, we might temporarily have one. For example, earlier this summer, I sprained an ankle. Very inconvenient, but you know what? I basically had a physical disability for a short time, which gives you a whole new appreciation for people who are dealing with those types of issues ongoing. So that's part of our goal here at AbilityMKE Now, is just to get the ideas out there, share those thoughts, share perspectives, information, things that can bring us all forward in the whole concept of inclusion and bringing, I should say, taking away the stigma that may go with that. So I am so excited tonight to have some special guests with us. We are welcoming back some guests from a couple weeks ago. We have Dr. Isabel and Chef Michael Hunsinger with us this evening. And we have a new friend joining us tonight. We have Alan Holmes joining the show tonight for the first time. And we're so pleased to have you joining us as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just a quick, I'll give a brief introduction for Alan, but then I'll ask him to expand a little bit more. I know Kurt's going to be on here shortly. He is someone who Kurt knows fairly well. I know a lot of friends that we've had here on the show are friends that we have basically gotten to know each other through the Happy Business Networking with the Happy Neighborhood Project. We've talked about that a lot, and Alan is no exception. He is someone who we've gotten to know through that wonderful platform. And you know what? Kurt just showed up. I am actually going to put him on the spot and bring him in and be able to give an introduction of Alan to all of us. Kurt, over to you.
All right. So I have been a part of the Happy Neighborhood Project for a couple years, and in the early experiences of Happy Business Networking, I met Alan, and Alan is a master connector, and he likes to use, technology like InPhone, and he likes to help people, use these digital tools and challenging people to do some collaboration and for individual stretching of ourselves to just fuel the success that we're meant to have individually. And Alan gets really excited with experiences like AbilityMKE Now, and he sees people coming together and how everybody's growing because of the group dynamic and connecting to another or other people. So with that, Alan, you want to come in here and do a little bit of helping everybody get it from the horse's mouth, as they say?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kurt. Those who know me, like Kurt, know me as a master connector. I also have been told that I'm a human rolodex. I specialize in connecting business owners, whether they are home base or affiliate marketers or the internet market, etc. The entrepreneurs, those who come up with the new innovations and ideas, as well as the everyday consumer, the ones that are buying from the first group. So in short, that's why I call myself a human search engine. I love to collaborate and connect and network. Just put all three together.
Nice. Awesome. And actually, I'm going to throw this back to Kurt one more time. We do have one more friend that has joined us tonight for the first time. I'm wondering if you could also give an introduction to Joey Chandler, who is joining us tonight.
Sure, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to our friend Joey, you are going to get to know me in a deeper and clearer way. I was able to take a quick little assessment, a survey of just a few quick questions through the great website that Joey has. And as a result, I was able to enter into a follow-up meeting. And what comes out of it, folks, is that at my core, and as I'm out there, like even on this radio show, as a radio show host personality, I can say that I come at you with at my core is love. And then we look at how do I define the love that I aim to bring forward? It is friends and family, growth, helping others. And we talk about meeting Alan through the Happy Neighborhood Project and this collaboration. Through my collaborations with Joey, we came up with a supposition, just to kind of get a little ignition, igniting potential progress and clarity, helping the Happy Neighborhood Project know what's going on at HMP at its core. And there's going to have to be a lot of more work on this from leadership, for sure, the founder, Edwin Edeberry, and so forth, the staff, and a lot of work on this. But we're able to have clear conversations because we're able to look at, hey, perhaps the 3 key words for HMP is connect, creativity, success. So these are conversations that I've never been able to have before. And thanks to Joey, we're going to have these conversations. If I think I know where I'm going, that this will be my everyday narrative from here on out. And Joey's teaching it all to us. So Joey, we want to go ahead and give us a little bit more of what's at your core and what the business of all of this is for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Nice to meet everyone. Yeah, I'm Joey Chandler. It's great that you're clear on love. I'm myself as well. I am love at my core, and love to me means courage, connection, and creativity. And what I do is I help people get clear on who they are and how they help people, and then take action and then continue to grow. And my fundamental belief is that we all have something amazing at our core, and the more that we can tap into it and use it in our lives, more good things happen.
Excellent. Oh, we're so glad you're here tonight, Joey. Looking forward to hearing more from Alan and Joey and connecting all that. And I'm going to bounce this back over to Dr. Isabel and Chef Michael. Can you guys come on back in, remind us a little of what we talked about previously and where we may be going tonight?
Do you want me to recap?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So hi, everyone. Thanks for having us back, Sue and Kurt. We really love being here. And hi, everyone, all our new people, Adam, Joey. Alan, sorry, Alan.
Close. The connector and Joey made of love.
Yeah. The space where Michael and I are coming from is basically brain health. And, you know, we all know that the world is becoming more and more unwell mentally, and we're seeing the rise of, quote, mental illness. And I propose that we wipe out the word mental illness from the research that we've done, and we replace it with brain health. And when we learn to take good care of our brain and all the different contributors that affect our brain so that it's in tip-top form, then we're able to have wonderful mental wellness. We're able to deal with everything. So my whole idea and Michael's whole idea is to get rid of the word of mental illness. And look, being a medical doctor for the last 31 years in frontline medicine, trained in conventional medicine, this is like a woo-woo idea. But because I had suffered with severe anxiety and depression within the last decade, I know what they're experiencing. I know what patients are experiencing firsthand. And I learned from that experience, and I realized, wow, they have missed the boat. There is so much more that we need to take into account. And so we focus on taking into account of helping people with their brain health.
Yes, I agree.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here again. I think there's going to be some interesting connecting points, perhaps between what you're talking about and what Alan and Joey can bring to the table here. So I'm thinking which way to start here. Actually, would you like to continue a little bit further with a little bit more of a dive into brain health and what that means?
Want to take it from there?
Well, Yeah, thank you, Sue. I also want to say with the other gentlemen here today, Joey and Alan, for you guys, I mean, this is both of what you gentlemen are doing and what you represent is so important to brain health and mental health. I mean, the connection part, bringing people together, showing love and love through healthy relationships. I mean, these are also important factors with brain health and mental health. And we've seen that over the last couple of years through the pandemic, people being separated, pulled apart, not having connection, losing connections, maybe not getting the love and support that they would normally get. And we've seen a dramatic rise in the rates of suicide and anxiety and depression. And so with what you gentlemen are doing with connecting people, bringing them together, and also, you know, through love and showing that through people and having that expressed, that is so important moving forward with brain health and mental health, to understand that it's not just something that's all sounds all fluffy and nice and you know, lovely, but it's very, very important for our mental health, that how we feel, our wellness. And so also want to commend you gentlemen in the areas that you're working in like that. So just so you understand, I mean, it's so important in the area of brain health, what you're doing to bring people together and for people to have happy, healthy, connected, loving relationships. It's another important part, relationships. We always talk about
Oh
that.
yeah, and if they're not loving, then that's okay to go bye-bye. I mean, you know, respectfully, you know, and put a big, strong picket fence around you
Yeah.
and a gate with a lock so that you can go, okay, you're allowed to come in for just a few moments and then off you go.
Yes.
You know, family members, people that you have to deal with frequently. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has that kind of situation in their life. Interpersonal relationships and how to balance your needs with another person's needs, and to know how to interact with each other is huge. And
Right.
that's where with us here at AbilityMKE Now, and talking about the different types of disabilities and how that totally falls into what could be uncomfortable situations. I remember the first time I really got to know a gentleman who's now actually a really good friend of mine, that he has cerebral palsy. He's a full-time wheelchair user. And I remember first getting to know him. It's like, I've never known anybody with this kind of a disability, and how do I communicate better? And I actually struggled a little bit, which in hindsight is silly, but you know what? New experience. When new things happen, you got to have that experience start somewhere, and to have those thoughts go through and to be able to process all that. So actually, Alan, Joey, I would love to open it up back to you guys as well, if you have any thoughts that have come to you since the start here.
I had a couple of ones. I love the idea of the mental, just the brain health. A lot of my work actually around core stuff actually started or got very, very refined this year when I burnt out in January. I hit a wall. I was going through a divorce, COVID, living alone. You know, my business wasn't doing well, like just a whole slew of things. And I woke up one day and I just said, I got nothing left. And I was just toast. And from that conversation, I just said, I just don't have the energy to be anything but me. And then shortly after that, I started to say, well, okay, if that's the case, then who am I and how can I be that? And that started this whole conversation, which I've been doing for the past year, where I wake up every day and I say, okay, who am I and how can I be that today? And it's amazing the mental energy that has been left from not trying to be something that I'm not. And the energy that we spend in trying to pretend to be something that we're not, and I think it's so prevalent. I think it's a huge cause of burnout in terms of if we're just not clear on who we are and we're not good at being that, it just drains us of energy. And I think that I don't have the medical training or the MRIs to prove it, but I would guess that if you're pretending to be something that you're not all day at work, that has to impact your brain more than, or in a way that if you were just being yourself at work, it would just be a different impact.
Yeah.
I agree. And I applaud you for the courage to do that deep work. And I'm sure you're continuing to do that deep work because we all have to do that work for the rest of our lives. May I ask how young you are?
I am 52 in 2 days. What is today? 27th?
Yeah, something happens to us in our 50s.
It can, yeah.
We're like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
how am I going to do the rest of my life? Because the
Yeah.
rest of my life is supposed to be the best of my life, and
Yeah.
this ain't it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's kind of like, whoa.
And I will say one thing that has come out of this work for me is that I've come to believe that who we are at our core is much more powerful and closer to the surface than we realize. It actually doesn't take massive deep dives to really explore it. It takes an ongoing practice, but I see this all the time when I help someone figure out, like Kurt, when we figure out that he's about love. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds with Kurt to see all these places in his life where love already bubbles up. Now, he's not perfect at it. I'm sure there's places where he's not loving himself or others as well as he could, but it's all there. And that happens all the time. It doesn't matter age, that who we have this thing, and it's just closer than we realize. And to me, that's really exciting because it doesn't mean super deep dives to try to figure out. It does mean ongoing practice, but not that initial hard work that stops so many people.
Well, I want to bring Alan back in here as well. What thoughts are on the top of your mind now?
Oh, wow. First of all, I am so honored to be in front of this incredible panel here. Joy, I agree with you. First of all, happy early birthday or life day. And you keep doing what you're doing, brother. And my thoughts, Sue, is exactly what Dr. Isabel and Chef Michael said when it comes to brain health and mental wellness, mental health. I agree wholeheartedly, and I applaud you both from the bottom of my heart, because I, believe it or not, am taking care of my wife, who has mental illness, or to the world, they said, and I've been tasked with that in a good way. I'm honored to do that, take care of her since 2007 when she was first diagnosed with various different diagnoses. But at the end of the day, this is why I do what I do, because I believe that there is a stigma that's out there that needs to be addressed to the point to allow everybody to collaborate and connect regardless of their challenges. I always like to keep the positive things, so it's a challenge for the day. But my wife, I'm sure that she's right now, she's over there and she's gonna ask me, you were on that, she hears everything, so she'll be questioning me about it. And I believe alternative brain food and health to keep your body and mind working together, like you're doing with the great food that I know Dr. Chef Michael will be preparing for all of us by the end of the evening. No kidding. But you have to have just a great overall. So this is an incredible panel. So I'm just privileged to be here, just to hear and be educated on such great information.
Thank you.
Feel free to call us Michael and Isabel, please, because we're human beings first. We've just done the training.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Okay, yeah. That's that military, the training.
I know.
I was a 13 Bravo. Yeah, Michael and
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Yeah.
Alan, I want to say just one common follow-up with what you had to say. One of the reasons why Isabel and I do what we do is also Isabel being an MD and being in traditional medicine, and actually being a client of traditional medicine, going through anxiety and depression. She realized and going through that, well, this is what people go through. And honestly, she felt it was ugly, and started to make a switch to look at, okay, well, what's actually going on here? And to start to identify that it's actually more of a brain health issue, because it's such as a society. I mean, if I've got arthritis and I happen to mention to my neighbor, I've got arthritis, we still continue to have a conversation, and it's not a big deal. They don't go like, oh my gosh, she's got arthritis, but if I happen to say to my neighbor, hey, I'm going through depression, or I've got, schizophrenic problems, or I'm having some mental illness issues, all of a sudden they'll be, oh, okay, okay, and that's how we react as a society. Well, it shouldn't be that way. Whatever physical, mental, brain health, any kind of disability issue should all be addressed the same, whether it's arthritis or dark depression. It's still something we can look at and do, and not as a society look at those people like, they've got the plague or something and avoid them and stay away from them and talk about them behind their back or something. And so that's also one of the reasons why we started doing what we are doing, just to kind of get that shift through society, and also in the world healthcare world, to say, wait a second, let's not just flick these people off to the side. Let's take a look here at issues and see what we can do about it, just like we can do with any other health issue.
Oh, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. That is so, Michael, that is so perfect, because you're right. Once we get past the stigma, and when I say an advocate, I mean that. I tell my wife that I'm an advocate for her as well as the world. And this is a global issue, and we can turn positive, because we'll find out that they have some amazing creativity behind it that is yet to be exposed to the world and shared with the world. And it's with great food and great brain health and everything else is gonna to get that shared, and watch what happens. And amazing things that start being developed. So kudos to the world, from California to New Zealand. I'm sending you the big hug and the big love across the state lines.
Thank you.
I love it. And actually, Joey, do you want to come back in again? Do you have other thoughts that this is percolated?
Oh, I mean, it just goes back to, I think having those conversations is challenging. It takes practice. Someone was saying like it just takes it. Like Sue, you were saying that you're meeting a gentleman with cerebral palsy, and you had whatever reaction you had, and the more that we have those conversations, the more we can practice having those conversations. And I say we build up what I call our core muscles to be able to be ourselves in those conversations. And as far as I can tell, it just takes practice. And the unfortunate part is the interesting part to me is that those conversations are challenging at first and incredibly rewarding afterwards, but you have to be willing to have the challenge. And let's be honest, a lot of people these days are so exhausted and tired and frustrated. They're like, I just want to watch Doritos, watch Netflix and eat Doritos. and so that's where I challenge myself, and I try to challenge other people in as much loving way as I can. Is like, no, let's have the conversations that's there about who we are, because the more we practice it, the more we can have it, and the more we have it, the more value we get out of having them.
Well said, Joey. And I want to say that that's one of the contributors of fantastic brain health, is good relationships and having the crucial conversations. That you're right, people are just numbing themselves out because it's just too hard. So we're crystal clear in our family about conversations. My episode with anxiety and depression, I mean, I'll just be honest with you, we started Doctor on a Mission to prevent and reverse disease and give people hope, because all these diseases that we're seeing out there, 90% of them are reversible and preventable. It's not just a pill. And so I gave away private practice with, the agreement of my husband, of course, and we started DoctorOnAMission.com to teach people how to do that. Well, a year later, I became super anxious, and I was listening to that critical voice, and I was having really bad conversations with myself to the point where I wasn't sleeping. And after 17 nights, I only slept 2 hours every night. And by the end of that, I tried to take my life twice in 3 days. Now, by the grace of God, that plan was stopped. And I had my husband who took me to the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist, God bless him, all he knew was to give me a pill and to say, Isabel, you need to stay on this for the rest of your life. And at that point, Joey, I totally surrendered. I just wanted to do whatever I needed to do to stay alive, but I knew deep down inside my soul, this is not right. And I'm going to figure this out. And so you go on a journey, and that's what we've learned is. And so now I'm sleeping well, but I've also from the research have learned what the big picture is that's not being addressed in medicine, unfortunately. And I am off of it successfully. And I wanted to say, Alan, that Michael was there every step of the way. A lot of men split, you know, when their wives are having a tough time. And I applaud you for being there, because you were there well, you still are. You're my psychologist, pretty much.
Well,
We go walking a lot, and so he's there listening to me. But I just I applaud you for being there and just saying, I've got your back. And
staying connected. Not just bailing out when times get tough.
And drinking a bottle of rum or whatever. You know, everybody tries to escape the difficult conversation. So I love, Joey, that you're, as a man, wanting to have difficult conversations, because men don't really know how to talk and have conversations, you know?
Yeah, my now ex-wife was she's always like, we always thought our roles were reversed, because I'm always bringing up the emotions and the feelings, and she was a little bit on the opposite side. It was just always, it was a funny experience.
Oh yeah, well, that's an unusual experience, because most men are like, I'm not talking. From my experience.
Well, you know, one thing that's interesting is these days I'm finding that you have to ask people at least a couple of times how they are doing. I ask people how are they doing, and then they'll say some answer, and then they'll ask me how I'm doing, and I always just answer, and I'm like, I'm doing this and da da da. I realize that people actually don't care what they ask me back. They aren't really asking me how I'm doing. But if I just give a short answer, then ask them how they are doing, somehow that second time around, it creates the space, a little more connection, and they open up a lot more. It's this little trick that I've learned, because I just noticed that I would be talking and people, their eyes would start to glaze over. And so I've now learned to stop and ask them a second time, saying, hey, how are you?
Yeah. Going in that little bit level, you know, going in that next step into their lives.
Isabel, I agree with you and Joy. Thank you, first of all, for those kind words. You're right. Part of me, growing up in Compton and serving in the military, it's almost that never to say give up attitude. Did you just? Well, I'm not. And besides, anybody who knows me, Kurt knows this. I'm a Leo. Leos don't give up. We're stubborn. We're just gonna go on to the end. And just we're gonna be there for you. And sometimes we have to have those conversations that when they don't have, no one starts to have, and there's been several different circumstances and meetings, and then when no one wants to speak up, my mother always told me the squeakiest, the loudest in the room and the squeakiest gets the wheel, gets the, I forgot the exact words to it, but it's, you have to be there and Joy, I agree with you. When you got to sometimes check in. I always tell people, and that was part of maybe one of my many jobs I had in my life. I was a summer counselor, and I worked at the different hospitality chains. So you feel that voice inflection. Okay, what's going on? And then you got to put your hand around the shoulder. Talk to me. What's going on? Let's have it. And then it'll just come out. And I believe since with all this technology, anybody knows I'm a technology nut. I love it, but we've lost that sense of that human connection. I mean, I actually have a beautiful little Times Hasn't Changed YouTube video that talks about master connecting, collaborating together.
All right, Alan, we are at our end here. Take it away, Sue.
I just want to give a heartfelt thanks to all of you, for Alan, Joey, Isabel, and Michael for joining us here with AbilityMKE Now. For Kurt and me, I'm thrilled, and truly we thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thank you.